Hi guys, welcome to the Gist of It show. I have a wonderful lady from all the way from Barcelona, Olga Geidane. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Harshit. I'm really excited towards and looking forward towards this episode. So yeah, let's get started.
Yeah, Olga, you are one of the few people, I've told you this before, that I love watching on Zooms and two cam calls. Because otherwise, people on Zoom, people on two cam calls, four cam calls, it's just too boring. Everyone's bored. But when you're listening to, like you're doing now, even when you're listening, you're all lit. So
Thank you.
it's an incredible presence. So everyone who hasn't seen one of your lives or doesn't understand what you do, uh, let me what I the way I look at what you do. I mean, you might differ, and it's little difficult because you might disagree that I'm introducing you in my way.
Sure.
You built your ideas around relationships and specifically on the idea of communication. Because
Mm.
I'm also a communication guy, but in the business world. So we do communication, key messaging, pitches, narratives for brands, brand stories, all communication. I studied communication. I studied literature and films. So communication in relationships is your forte. And I think, which I've seen from your stuff, videos and posts, you believe that is the most important secret sauce of any relationship.
Yeah,
We'll talk more about
absolutely.
that. Yes.
Absolutely. Of
One
any
way,
relationship.
any
Harshit, of
relationship.
absolutely any relationship. Relationship with you, relationship with your partner, relationship with your colleague, relationship with your boss, relationship with whoever it is. It is a secret source of any relationship, but most importantly, your own. Because you can never build any relationship with anybody else in the world if you don't have relationship with yourself.
That's such a key idea, isn't it? I'll talk about that. Um, I wrote a book that came out in 2019. It's called A to B, moving from adversities to breakthroughs with the power of storytelling. So I started off, I wanted to talk about brands, as in how brands like Apple and Google and Microsoft, they go from A to B, from unknown startups to becoming big brands, and how they weave those stories, small stories. But the book ended up becoming more of a self-help for everyone, from adversities to breakthroughs.
Yeah.
And one of the first chapters is about the internal story.
Mm.
And there is a story about Mahatma Gandhi somewhere stuck on a railway platform in South Africa. Have you heard that? Do you know about that event?
No, I'm curious. I'm all in. Please tell
Mahatma
me.
Gandhi, maybe mid 20s, this is about 1890s or something like that, stuck on a railway platform in South Africa because he was kicked out of the railway compartment that was meant only for the British, right? So it's middle of the night. He's all dressed up. He was a practicing lawyer, well-to-do guy in his suit and his briefcase, and he felt humiliated. So that one small event, small for us, big for him, decided where he was going to go in his life. So his internal story was that this should not happen again. And everything that Mahatma Gandhi did after that in the Indian independence struggle or whatever changes he did in his life, he attributes that to that communication he had with himself on that isolated platform in South Africa. So, what's your story is where we all start. So, over to you. What do you have to say about this?
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you asking, and I will not make it long because, of course, everybody's story can be very long because we have decades of experiences, right, and stories. But my story actually went all the way, of course, back to young years when actually I was growing up in a not very financial advanced family. We were below average, closer to poor family, and when a little girl has all those aspirations and dreams and desires, and she's constantly told, no, you cannot have it, no, it's not possible. No, you will never travel the world. No, you will never. And all that never, 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 you never. So those two words I learned since I was little, you and never. And inside of me, there was always burning desire to prove the whole world they are wrong. It was just to prove everybody they're wrong. And I am the one who is creating my own life. And therefore, as a result, I immigrated, left Latvia, I went to live in UK, lived there for nearly 15 years, traveled around the world massively. And the one thing that I always wanted to do is something meaningful with my life. I learned since I was little, I love helping people. I just love problem solving. I love to understand where things are coming from. And even back then, when I did not have qualifications, I did not know what I know now. But even back then, I remember I was constantly asking people with whom I would have these conversations, okay, it is that way, it is this way, I understand that, but what could be better? Nothing could be better, Olga, nothing could be better. But what if that would be better? What could be better? And I found that there's always a solution. There's always a solution, right? But it is about communicating that solution. Because if we don't see that solution, if we don't give that the path, the light, the tunnel for that solution to come through, so we can reveal it to the world, it's not going to come out, right? So you got to change the way how you communicate with yourself, to give yourself permission, if you wish to call it that way, to find solutions. Because very often we just stuck in the box which we were taken to, right? Because when we're little, we don't have a choice. We are taken into the circumstance which we are, but then we do have a choice to change those. But that starts with internal communication here. You can either believe what the world tells you, or you can believe what you tell yourself. Which one you choose to believe? This is what matters. So my story is going all the way back there, challenging what people were telling me, just literally not wanting to conform what I was told and being a bit of rebellious. That's my story.
But don't you think it's I know somebody very similar to you who it's not the perfect parallel, but would you say that you responded to all those no's and all those restrictions? You just responded when they say no, you can't do it, so you were like subconsciously that got stuck, and as you grew up you were like, you made sure that I'll prove them wrong. So did that become the primary force of your life? Because
it was definitely a reaction.
Yeah,
it was definitely a reaction, of course, because whatever you do, whatever anybody does to you, you always have a choice and a chance to react on that one way or another. Yeah. So it definitely was a response to, I'll show you I can.
Yeah.
I'll prove you I can. And I remember probably the most strongest example was when I was in my previous relationships. We were engaged already. We actually were going to get married. And I remember with my ex-fiance, I shared one Christmas night that I am planning next year to become a motivational speaker. And what I want is just to inspire people around the world and just help them to understand they can take ownership of their lives. And I'll never forget that. He just pushed himself against the table, moved away, looked at me and said this, who do you think you are? Olga, you came from a little town called Tushki in Latvia. You don't even speak proper English. You are a woman. Who do you think you are that you think you can be a motivational speaker? Not only he became my ex to start with, okay, which I think was the right decision. But second thing, within 13 months, not only I was already a speaker, but I was international speaker.
Yes. Within
next
few months, next 12 months.
Absolutely. Because for me, it was, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for exposing and expressing and showing to me your limitations. This is what you think.
That brings me to I'm interrupting you, sorry, but it brings me to, because I'm a man.
Right.
I'm a very typical man, and I understand the insecurities of what a man goes through, right? So don't you think that your ex was simply playing out his insecurities of being with a powerful, more powerful partner? Isn't that
100%. And here is the thing. It happens every single day. There are a lot more men who feel inferior and feel intimidated by a successful woman than women feeling that way next to men, right? When a woman is next to a successful man, she feels proud of him. She feels safe. She feels secure. Because let's put this way, money is security. When you have money, you can pay for things, you can sort things, right? So money simply brings you security and sort of safety, right? If you're in a difficult situation and you have money to pay lawyers, you will get out of the situation, right? So money brings to a woman safety and security. So when a woman is next to a successful man, she feels safe. When man is next to a successful woman and he's having lack of confidence, insecurities, he didn't achieve much, or whatever else, internal issues, he will feel intimidated. He will feel she is too much, she wants too much, she is greedy, she's a gold digger, she's all that, simply because he is not thinking big enough. He is not successful enough. Yeah.
So how do you solve that? How
Pardon?
do we solve that? Because it's not
Okay.
one woman's problem. It is a pandemic.
Yes, pandemic brought many other issues for sure. Absolutely. That was a whole different world. But let's put this way, again, going back to communication. When you as a man and you feel inferior next to a woman who is successful and you communicate to that it's too much or whatever else, what do you actually communicate is, I don't believe in myself. I don't think so. I could do that. And therefore, I'll tell you, you cannot do that. Here's the question you as a man can ask yourself. What can I do so I can compliment my woman? What can I do that actually we become a power couple? What could I achieve? What is my next step? And allow your woman to challenge you. Because again, when a woman wants to achieve more, it's not because she's competing with you. We are not competing with our men. We challenge our men. It's about, I want to achieve more because I also want you to achieve more. And as much as I achieve, I want you to succeed as well. Because we women, we naturally have this desire to feel proud. Why? Because we're mothers. And we want to be proud of our children. Look at any mother around the world. Oh, my child, he is a lawyer. On my boy, he is a doctor. On my daughter, we all are proud. So what do we want when it comes to our men? We want to be proud of you. So what can you as a man do so we can be even more proud of you and you will grow? That's the internal communication, what you can do.
It's absolutely.
Did I answer the question?
Absolutely true, based on my experience with my wife.
Oh,
absolutely. So the mantra here is keep up or get out. Either you keep up with us or get out. Right?
Or you will be an ex.
Yes, either you get out or you keep up. There was a movie, Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, Forbidden Roads. Right? Have you seen it?
No, I don't think so. No.
It was released during the pandemic. I'd suggest you'd love it because Kate Winslet plays that character of initially a supporting wife, supports and sacrifices her career for the man because he wanted to go to Paris and do art and all that. But when he gives up on his ambition and dreams, she leaves him.
There we
And
go.
I love that, that dialogue they had, the fight. He could understand why. He said, I'm earning money. I'm a top salesman and everything I'm doing. You should be happy. You have a house. And she said, you're not a man anymore. Because for me, a man is somebody who goes after his dreams and you're giving up and you sold your dreams.
I love that. That's beautiful. I'll definitely watch it now.
You love that movie. She's absolutely phenomenal, Kate Winslet. Super. So one final question and we wrap up. And we have covered a lot of ground. Just so far, we've covered a lot of ground. How do you regain back the broken trust?
Okay, I will say something that probably you and many other people will not like, because very often we think it's about trust which we have towards other person, which is logical, because when trust is broken, of course, it's other person breaking your trust. In reality, it's your trust towards yourself.
Yeah.
So what we got to do to regain that broken trust is that trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, trusting your choice, even if the choice is, I choose to stay with this partner and I know they've broken my trust, but now I choose to trust them, but trusting that choice, putting the trust into that, trusting whatever decisions, thoughts you have. It's about trusting yourself, which means you got to listen and communicate to yourself what's going on, what happens, are there any red flags or anything else. So that's the first part, which is coming around, you know, how to rebuild broken trust. That's trusting yourself more than you will trust anybody else. When it comes, what about other person? How they could rebuild the trust? Through reassurance, through a lot of reassurance. So for example, if I'll give actually my own example with my husband. We went through infidelity issues in our relationships and we started a brand new relationship. Okay, so you don't continue previous relationship where trust was broken. You start brand new relationship. Okay, but very, very important part there is about reassurance, as I mentioned early on, because like in our case, for example, if it will be about my husband traveling and this is when cheating would happen, it is about, honey, I love you. And let me just remind you, I'm a new man and I will not cheat on you anymore. Do I know it? Yes, I know. Do I hope for that? Yes, I hope. But hearing that puts me at ease, right? Or for example, me telling him, honey, I love you. And right now I'm here, I'm there. And let me reassure you, I will not make you feel hurt ever again. And I'm sorry what happened before. So it's not about going back to the past and looking into all the dirty laundry, what happened, but it's reminding who I was an old person, who I am now is a brand new person, and I will not hurt you again. And reassure each other, of course, based on circumstances, based on events. Every relationship is different, right? I don't know everybody's story, but based on what happened, reassuring the other person that I am a brand new person and I will not hurt you again. But again, imagine if this person tells you this, but you don't trust your intuition and you don't trust your choices. What will happen? You will say, oh, yeah, that's just nonsense, right? So that's why I mentioned the first and most important trust is towards yourself. You knowing you made the right choice, because when you doubt your choice, it's when you don't trust yourself.
Yeah, that's it. Fantastic. But it is incredibly hard for the person who broke the trust to revisit and reassure. For that person, for the man, for example, the man who cheated, to reassure the wife that I will not do it again and you can trust me. It's incredibly hard.
It is hard, but you know what makes it easier? There is something what can make it easier. When you work with professionals and you show to your partner, you show to your wife, look, the person who cheated on you was the old me with my insecurities, with my internal issues. I didn't know myself. I didn't know even why I did that. But now I worked with people to resolve my issue, to resolve my trauma, to resolve and give birth to a brand new man.
Yeah.
So when you speak from a space of a being brand new man, it's not difficult, because you simply say, I know I made a mistake, but that was an old man. And I'm a brand new man now. And that's also your proud moment, because very few men in the world are able to first admit what they did, to be vulnerable about that, and to do a very deep work. Seriously, I think those men, they receive and they deserve a monument, because those men, they are very special men. And when man does that deep work, this is when you know it will not happen again. Why? Because as far as I know, men, they're quite proud creatures. And when they have done such a deep work on themselves, and they will cheat again, their ego and proudness will just drop below zero. And they don't want that. They don't want that because they are proud of themselves and they want to continue being proud of themselves.
Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so one tiny bit out of all that. How do you look at a man and figure out that he has done deep work?
I
What
wish that could be written on a face. I wish that could be done. Right? I wish it could be written on our face. And I wish actually all of us, yeah, imagine we would come with a manual. Imagine we would come with a history, like history book the doctor has on us, right? And then here's the file, read through that. And if you don't like something, then just move on, right? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. But the way how you can find out if a man did a deep work is only if you have done your deep work.
Okay.
Because if you haven't, you will not be able to notice that.
So both of them need to move, take a step.
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. So the only way to find out if man has done a deep work is for you to do your deep work. Because then you'll be able to see, you'll be able to hear, you'll be able to witness that transition. But if you haven't done your deep work, you will notice that. You will not.
Amazing, fantastic. A lot of secrets and, you know, gems of wisdom, practical gems of wisdom. People will pay you for, you know, thousands of dollars for these that we are getting for free.
It's my pleasure. Hopefully lots of people will benefit.
Yes, there are a lot of people who need to hear this, and you don't know. Somebody might be benefit from, even one person gets something out of it. It's good. In our culture in India, we have in our mythology, and it's not just mythology, we practice it. And there are a lot of ironies towards it. People mention that, but we have goddesses, we have feminine goddesses and masculine gods. And feminine goddesses are always higher than the masculine gods. You must have read about Shiva and Shakti in the context of Tantra, which is very stupidly presented in the West. But Shiva and Shakti, Shiva is the masculine and Shakti is the feminine. And Shakti is always higher than Shiva. Shiva is lying down, trying to control, assuage, manage, you know, plead. Calm down, lady, calm down. And she's in her, you know. So in our mythology, we have goddesses like Kali, Durga. These are the demon slayers. So it's not the men or the gods who go out and kill the demons. It's the feminine, the wives, they have to take that role and go out and kill those demons. So I always believe, the feminine is always superior to masculine. I can't figure out why, but it's a fact. And being an artist myself, I also believe that when your feminine is empowered within you, you see things differently in the world. So I can only imagine that somebody who's a female, who's a mother, who's a wife, who's a partner, who's 100% feminine manifestation, it's an incredible soul, incredible. So thanks a lot, Olga, for your time. I love chatting with you. A lot of ideas we exchanged. And do watch that movie. I'll confirm the exact title. I think it's Forbidden Roads, but I'll confirm to you. Kate Winslet and Cap.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I will definitely watch this movie because now you inspired me to watch it for sure. And what you have said about feminine and masculine, you know, I think it's really powerful when we give the space for a beautiful dance between them two. You know, all of us, we have both energies, masculine, feminine, and sometimes woman will step up more in her relationship and then man will step down, and other times man will step up and woman step down. It is about the dance. And dance is beautiful when both partners know their steps and they change roles and they just both together contribute towards the dance. So they just remember, I don't think so there is somebody who is more important or less important, somebody who is better than worse. No, I think it's about beautiful dance between two energies, which is leading ultimately to happiness and fulfillment. And when you start competing one energy against another, then it just becomes a competition, and that is dry, and there's no happiness there. Because let's put this way, when you compete and you win something, your feeling of fulfillment is so short, it's only then, because now you know, I must continue practice because somebody else can beat me next time.
Yeah.
So you never really stop, you never really remain happy because you have to constantly compete. But when you dance beautifully between you two, this is when you end up being beautifully happy.
Yeah, like Rumi say that in love you win by losing.
Ha, there we go. Exactly.
You win by losing yourself. Fantastic. Have a good rest of the day in sunny Barcelona. And once we are live and all done, I think a lot of people are going to like this episode. Thanks a lot, Olga, again.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Harshit. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you. God bless you.
Okay.